Go. Okay. So again, we just want to welcome you and we thank you for joining us this evening. And like I was mentioning before, follow us on Facebook and YouTube at DRD Natural Health. And if you want to get in touch with us, our email is drdnaturalhealth@gmail.com.
And I think our website is available now as well.
Is it? Oh, you better put it in the
Yes,
chat.
yes. And it is www.drdnaturalhealth.com.
Okay, so I will put it in the chat.
drdnaturalhealth.com. So,
Mhm.
yeah, if you put it now, you might have to put it again because,
Yeah, I'll put it at the
yeah,
beginning and then at the end.
yeah, because those who join after, they won't be able to see it. But yes, we're making progress. So you can check out the website and the information that's there. We have a few recipes, we
Mm-hmm.
have, some health tips, and also the videos are there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we will make changes to it as we go
Yeah,
along. Yeah.
yeah.
So this evening we have a very, very important topic to discuss,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna be including our um, guests as best as possible. We'll ask them to participate because this is a topic that I know that they are familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
So before we start, though, we just wanna um, do the disclaimer,
Mm-hmm.
and that is that the information that we provide this evening is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or replace the recommendation of your healthcare professional,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So we encourage you to, even if you want to make changes based on the recommendations that we've made,
Mm-hmm.
that you still, speak with
With your
your
doctor.
healthcare professional.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we said last week, this
Yeah.
week we will be looking at exercise. Now,
Mm-hmm.
there are 8 laws that we want to cover, and we also want to mention some natural remedies that persons can use
Yeah.
for different conditions. However, we want to put the 8 laws first,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because many times persons will choose to want a cure, a quick fix,
Yeah. Yeah.
when the thing they really need is at their fingertip and they're not
Mm-hmm.
using it, right?
And it's also about consistency too, because some of these things, eating right, exercise, water, like we all know
Mm-hmm.
that they're good for us, but are we
Yeah,
being consistent enough to see the benefits?
that's right.
Yeah.
So instead of wanting I mean, a lot of people go to the doctor because they just want a pill,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just give me a pill.
Yeah.
But the cause, what is causing the condition, why
Mm-hmm.
you're taking the pill,
Yeah.
that is something that we need to look at. So this
Mm-hmm.
evening, exercise. And we just want to let you know that exercise is an absolute requirement for the
Yes.
body for strength and development.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times people die from lack of exercise
Yeah.
than from too much exercise,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So more people, we may have heard this term, rust out than
Yeah.
wear out. So we don't want to rust out.
No, we don't.
Okay. And daily exercise is beneficial for people of all ages.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone can exercise,
Yeah.
right? It promotes a sense of well being and it
Mm-hmm.
prevents diseases, but
Mm-hmm.
it also aids in recovery from diseases.
Yeah.
So that is one that we want to ensure that we're doing at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And an interesting thing too, exercise is not just for our muscles. A lot of people, when they
No.
think about exercise, it's just, yeah, I want to get, big muscles. I want to tone myself. But, exercise is also important for strengthening our bones. It's
Yes.
also important for toning up our organs,
Mm-hmm.
because every time we move, every step that we take, our organs, I like to say, they're getting a little massage, right? Especially your abdominal organs. You just get a little massage as you move and as you walk. So it's really
Yes.
important for us to be moving every
Moving.
day.
That's
Yeah.
right. That and once we're not moving,
Mm-hmm.
then it's problems.
Yeah.
You could look at um somebody. I remember this gentleman spoke about his mom. He
Mm-hmm.
took her to the hospital, and after when she went in, she was fine. She could walk and
Yeah.
everything. After a week of just
Mm-hmm.
lying in bed,
Yeah.
she couldn't move after that,
Wow.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
exercise is so, so
It really
important.
is. It
It
really
is.
is.
And the medical ministry, there's a book, Medical Ministry, page 297. It says, if those who are sick would exercise their muscles daily,
Mm-hmm.
women as well as men, in outdoor work, using brain,
Mm-hmm.
bone, and muscle proportionately, weakness and languor would disappear. Health would take the place of disease, and strength the place of feebleness.
Wow.
So, whatever your situation,
Mm-hmm.
go outside. If you can go outside and walk, or you can, have a little garden, a flower garden, a vegetable garden, and move, get some exercise.
Mm-hmm. And it's also interesting too that this quote mentioned the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Exercise is so good for the brain, especially brain workers, students, people
Yes.
that just sit in front of the computer and doing brain work all day. It's so important to get up and
Move
move, because when you're doing brain work all day, it's like the blood gets congested in
in
your
the
head,
head.
because of course your brain is using up a lot of energy.
Yes.
But then sometimes you get a headache, a
Mm-hmm.
tension headache, or you have brain fog, you can't think clearly. And sometimes all you need to do is just move, go
Yes.
outside, get some fresh air, and you notice that your mind is clear again.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, according to the World Health Organization, approximately 3.2 million deaths each
Wow.
year are attributable to insufficient
Mm-hmm.
physical activity.
Wow.
And they also list insufficient physical activity as one of the 10 leading risk factors for death worldwide.
Worldwide.
So, it is so important. If
Mm-hmm.
you remember, when God made man, he placed them in a garden,
Garden. Yeah.
and they were supposed to work. So
Mm-hmm.
they would be getting a lot of
Mm-hmm.
exercise.
Yeah. And
All
that's what we
right.
want.
Yes, really want that.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some different types of physical activity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can engage in light,
Yeah.
moderate, or vigorous activity.
Mm-hmm.
So we will get the most benefit when we are doing um, the more vigorous type of
Mm-hmm.
exercises, right?
Yeah. But the vigorous is not for everyone.
No,
And it's not something you're going to be doing for a large amount of time, right?
right? And
Yeah.
and you're not just gonna start with the vigorous
Mm-hmm.
exercise
Mm-hmm.
either.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's light, then it can boost your energy,
Yeah.
and it means that you're not sedentary. So, get up off the couch, go outside, walk around,
Mm-hmm.
movement.
Yeah.
And for moderate exercise or moderate activity will cause, some form of sweating, you're
Mm-hmm.
perspiring, and your breath is increased.
Yeah.
And that is good when you're exercising and your breathing is increased. And then for vigorous now, then you're more intense.
Yeah.
There's more intensity, more sweating, heavier breathing,
Mm-hmm.
and your heart rate increases,
Yeah.
right? And um, that too is very good when
Mm-hmm.
your heart rate goes up.
Yeah, I think they said the best to know if your exercise is good your heart rate should go up,
Mhm.
and you should be able to still have a conversation even though
Right.
you're doing that intense exercise.
That's
If
correct.
you're not able to have a conversation, then it might be too much for
Too
you.
much.
Yeah.
Okay. So exercise, according to dictionary.com, is defined as activity requiring physical effort carried out to sustain or improve health and fitness.
Mm-hmm.
So it's carried out for a specific reason
Yeah.
to improve health and fitness.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we can ask for some participation. What are some types of exercises that we can all participate in?
Yeah.
So you can go to the chat and you can tell us some of the exercises that, some of them that comes to mind right as we are speaking.
Okay,
Some types of exercise. Okay.
Someone says walking. Yeah.
Very good. Any other? Okay.
Going
Deep breathing.
upstairs in the house. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Deep breathing.
Deep breathing. Yeah, that's good for our lungs too. Jogging. That's a good one.
Right.
What else do you guys do? Walking, jogging, anything else? Swimming. That's good.
All right.
Cycling for those who are able to cycle.
Cycling.
Cycling.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's a good one. Cycling. All right. So we'll just add some more to the ones that you've listed. So yard work. So whether you're mowing or raking or okay, someone else added weight training. It's very good. And there is tennis. You can play ball.
Yeah, sporting activities. Yeah.
Squats, push-ups, abdominal crunches.
Ooh, trampolining.
Yes, trampolining. That one is very, very good. And interval training. I'm not sure how many of us are familiar with interval training.
Interval training.
But interval training is very good. And, when you exercise today and tomorrow you're in pain. Oh, that's because you have done too much at one time and your body has released lactic acid. And that is what causes the pain. So interval training helps with that, in that you are, say you're at point A and you want to get to point B, you're gonna walk as fast as you can to point B.
For
and
like
then
20 or 30 seconds. It's time.
Yeah. And then you're gonna slowly or leisurely walk back to the next point. So if I'm doing interval training, I'll stand at one spot and I'll run as fast as my feet can carry me, just standing on the spot. And that is usually timed. So for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And you would be amazed at how long 20 seconds is when you're trying to do it as fast as you possibly can. And then at the end, then you will slow down and you will just mark time on the spot, right? So that's interval training. And a lot of people are doing that now. So even if you're walking, if you're doing your 1 mile walk, you're doing fast walking, then slow walking, fast walking, slow walking. And that is very, very good because it increases the heart rate and then it slows it down a little. It's still working while you are walking slowly, but at least you're not too stressed, you know?
And you don't have as much buildup of lactic acid.
Yeah. Right.
So walking is a really good form of exercise. I know at first for me, I'm like, walking, oh, that's so boring. But now that's what I'm doing every morning outside, walking. It's so important. It gets your heart rate up. It works all the muscles, it massages all the organs, it gets the blood everywhere that it needs to go. And it's such a good form of exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important to walk in the fresh air. We talked about air already, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
when you go outside and exercise, it's like you're doing two things at once. I know some people say,
and sometimes three.
Yes, with the sun, but we don't have that much sun here. But I was gonna say, sometimes people say kill two birds with one stone,
Yeah.
but I learned a different way to say it. You feed two birds with one hand.
Ah.
Because we don't want to kill. We don't want to kill birds.
Okay.
So, it's so important to walk outside in the fresh air. Our lungs are getting the exercise, our muscles, our bones, everything.
Yes.
So there are different types of exercise. So earlier we mentioned different forms of exercise. So walking, swimming, cycling. But now we want to talk about different types, which would include aerobic exercise. So like we mentioned, the walking, swimming, jogging. There's strength training. So that usually involves, weightlifting, and that helps to build our bones. So especially us ladies, as you get older, your estrogen decreases, and that can lead to, osteoporosis. So it's so important as women get older to start incorporating some weights. It doesn't have to be, like
a 5 pound. A 2 pound is fine. Or
anything. It doesn't have, I was gonna say it doesn't have to be 20 pounds. But you said 5 pounds. Just start where you can.
Slowly.
Start slow.
2 pound weight, one in one hand, one in the other hand, and you start working at like that.
Yeah. And so strength training helps to maintain your weight. It helps to, build your posture and your balance, and reduces stress as well. Well, all the exercise will reduce stress, right?
Yes.
Then there's stretching that will improve your flexibility and your mobility. And then there's balancing exercises. So that would include, standing on one leg, or, hopping or something.
That's important for older persons as well, because most of the times older persons lose their balance and will fall. They'll realize that they're falling very often. So when you can do the balancing exercises, then that's good.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay.
So what's the best exercise, or when is the best time to exercise?
Okay, let's see what answers we'll get. When is the best time to exercise? When is the best time to exercise? Let us hear from you in the chat. Mornings. Okay. Yeah. Very good.
Oh, we have a couple mornings. Okay. Yeah.
Mornings. Yeah. Yeah.
So it is best to exercise, in the morning. And, for us, we wake up, well, I have to check the weather before I can go outside. But you know what? I've walked in, what was it, minus?
It's like minus 16.
Yeah.
Feels like minus 22 or something.
I don't think
like
it was that bad. But I purposed in my heart, I said, you know what? I'm going outside and I'm going to exercise. And later on, we'll talk about, dressing appropriately to exercise. But it's so important. You go outside and you get that morning air. It's so crisp and clean, and it just feels so good. So yes, mornings are the best time for us to exercise.
Yes. And what happens to us when we don't exercise?
Let's hear from them.
Yes, we need to hear
ask
from
you
them.
guys as well.
What happens
when we don't
exercise?
What happens to the body? How do you feel? They don't know because they all exercise.
Our body is sluggish.
Yes.
Very good.
Sluggish.
That's so true.
You lose muscle mass. You feel tired. Yes.
Exactly.
So true.
Exactly.
And a lot of people say, oh, I'm too tired to exercise.
Or I'm too busy to exercise. Yeah.
But the thing I wanted to mention with feeling too tired is that when you exercise, you get more energy.
Energy. Yes.
It's almost like
It's
counterintuitive,
fuel.
right? You're gonna burn energy to get energy.
Yes.
But like I mentioned, I think I mentioned last week, or maybe I didn't mention it on here, but in our cells, we have a little tiny organ called the mitochondria. And that's a powerhouse of the cell. That's where we produce energy. But the amazing thing is that the more you exercise, is the more of those
Energy.
mitochondria you have. So more mitochondria means more energy.
Yes.
So that should just encourage you to exercise. So if you have low energy, start exercising.
Exercising.
Yeah.
And Maxine says, I am lazy when I don't.
Yeah.
That's right.
You have
So
no motivation to do
no.
anything when you're not
So
exercising.
that's important.
Yeah.
Okay. So the ones, I think you mentioned most of the ones we have. We feel fatigued and have less energy.
Yeah.
Our blood flow is sluggish. We are plagued with many different types of diseases. We have lots of aches and pains.
Yeah.
And someone will say, oh, but I'm in pain. I can't exercise. You need to exercise.
Yeah.
Even when you're in pain, you're not going to be as aggressive with the exercise, but you're gonna go slowly. But you
Start
must
slow.
exercise, and you'll realize that over time the pain will go away.
Yeah.
Right? And then we're less alert, and our reflex is slower when we don't exercise.
Yeah. And you know what else slows down when we don't exercise?
Oh boy.
Our bowels slow down when we don't exercise. And we don't want to have sluggish bowels, because when the stool stays in our intestines for a long period of time, our body starts to reabsorb that waste. And we don't want that, because then that puts more pressure on our liver, our kidney, all those organs of elimination are even more stressed because we're not exercising.
Right. So there's this quote from a book, Counsels on Health, page 200, and it says, in some cases, want of exercise causes the bowels and muscles to become enfeebled and shrunken. And these organs that have become enfeebled for want of use will be strengthened by exercise.
Yeah.
So there you go, the bowels, and they have become enfeebled. So when you, and the more you exercise, the more bowel movements you will have as well. Incorporating the others, you know, the water and all of that.
Yeah. The I think there's if you're having if you're constipated or having sluggish bowels, 4 things that you can do: exercise, water, fiber, and you won't believe what the last one is: laughter.
Laughter is good for the bowel.
It really is. It really is. Okay.
Yes, very good for the bowel. So ensure that you're laughing, right? Find something to laugh about.
Yes.
Sometimes there are some persons, they are so stiff. They will not laugh. It doesn't matter what's happening.
Yeah.
They are grumpy. Laugh at the simplest thing. You know, look outside and find something to laugh about. There is always something that we can laugh about. Okay. So now we can have you help us again by telling us some of the benefits of exercise. What are some benefits of exercise? Okay, so let's go. Productive day, very good. More energy, very good. Come on, let's see the others.
Sound sleep. Oh, that's so important.
Very good. That's very, very important for sound sleep. You have exercise.
Slim and trim waistline. Yes, Tony. Yes.
Clear mind. Yes, you are on the ball.
Yeah, I like these.
Yes, very good answers. Very, very good answers. Okay. So we're just gonna add to those. And so it improves your muscle tone
Yeah.
and the efficiency of your blood vessels. So
Mm-hmm.
it helps the blood to flow freer
Mm-hmm.
through the vessels.
Okay. So another thing that exercise does, we talked about the lungs, right? We have to have air going all over the body. So it increases the efficiency of our lungs. It helps with digestion,
Yeah,
right?
Maxine had mentioned in the chat
Mm-hmm.
that it aids with digestion, just a short
Oh, she said the
walk.
digestive walk.
Yes,
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 a
yeah.
digestive walk right after you meal,
Mm-hmm.
10 to 15 minutes, is really good in aiding digestion.
Right. And we mentioned that when we spoke about diabetes as well.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
helps to so that you don't have the spike
In
in
your
the
blood
blood sugar
sugar,
levels.
exactly.
Mhm.
Do you want to go?
It improves the maximum oxygen intake in the
Mm-hmm.
body
Mm-hmm.
again because it's hard for you to exercise without breathing
Yes, and
and
breathing deeply.
getting fresh air
Mm-hmm.
into the lungs. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, it does that.
Mm-hmm. It also helps to change your whole outlook on life,
Hmm.
right? Because when you exercise, it really impacts your mood, right? It can lift depression, it can relieve
Yes.
anxiety,
Yes.
right? And by just doing that and experiencing that, you
Hmm.
can change your whole perspective on life because you feel so good. And I
That's
know there
right.
are some people that are actually addicted to
To exercise,
exercising
yes.
because of that high that they get after they
Hmm.
exercise. But we
Hmm.
don't want to get to that extreme. But we do have to acknowledge that exercise does improve and lift the mood.
And if you have a relative or a friend who is depressed, just get them to go outside and
Mm,
walk. As a matter of fact, walk with them. Just
yeah.
go outside in with the fresh air, the sunshine, and the exercise.
Mm-hmm.
That will lift their mood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exercise also helps to regulate blood pressure. It helps to quicken the circulation of blood that we mentioned earlier, strengthening the bones, helps to deal with stress.
Mm-hmm.
I know sometimes when we're stressed, we don't even want to look outside because we're so busy and we have so many things to do that we're just like one track mind. I got to do this thing. But when we are stressed, the best thing is to just separate yourself
Mm-hmm.
from the
It's from this,
situation
yeah,
and go outside and just move.
that's
It
right.
doesn't have to be intense,
No,
but just
just move.
move.
Yes.
Yeah.
It helps to maintain a desirable weight
Mm-hmm.
and the overall energy and efficiency in all areas of our
Yeah.
lives. In addition to that, someone mentioned already sleep.
Mm-hmm.
If you have children, it helps with their growth,
Yes.
and if you have painful menstruation, it will help
Mm-hmm.
with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's hardly likely that you're going to exercise without drinking more water.
Mm-hmm.
When you exercise, you're perspiring, you're
Yeah.
going to get thirsty, so you
Mm-hmm.
will drink more water, and that will help with your menstrual pain as well.
Yeah.
Okay. A quote from my life today: mental effort without corresponding physical exercise calls an undue proportion of blood to the brain, and thus the circulation is unbalanced. The brain has too much blood, which the extremities have,
Wow.
while the extremities have too little.
Mm-hmm.
And you had mentioned that earlier, right?
Yeah.
And what you need to do to get the blood from the brain.
Like this
Okay.
was me, like being in school, so busy. I have no time to exercise. And of course, you're fatigued, you can't think
Mm-hmm.
clearly. And so once I started incorporating exercise, and even more now, like going outside in the fresh air, getting the exercise, it really helps to just calm me and relieve the stress. And it's so good for me.
It
It's
is.
really good and
It
and
is.
clears my mind too because I can easily get caught up in my mind. But when you're outside exercising, moving, you forget about that and you're just admiring, nature and what's in
Mhm.
front of you.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Judicious exercise would induce the blood to the surface, right?
Yeah.
So when you're exercising, you get warm.
Mm-hmm.
So more blood comes to the surface, and the internal organs, it gives the internal organs a break, because sometimes they really need that relief.
Yeah.
And they only get that when we exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So we want our exercise to be brisk, but not violent. All
Yeah.
right. So brisk, but not violent.
Mm-hmm.
And if we neglect to exercise the entire body, sometimes we sit and we're probably watching television and we say, okay, I can just do my arms, but that's not enough.
Yeah.
The entire body needs to be exercised, right? So one portion of the body is fit, the arms,
Yeah.
and the rest of the body isn't.
Yeah. There's
so
an imbalance there.
there is an imbalance, and an imbalance will eventually lead to some type of medical condition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the best form of exercise? Did we mention that already?
I'm sure someone mentioned it. I know they've mentioned the best time to exercise.
But what's the best
form of exercise? Let's see what your thoughts are on that one.
So we mean,
The best type
walking,
of exercise:
swimming, cycling.
jogging, cycling, walking.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Any other answer? Any other answer? Just walking.
Stretches. Okay.
Okay.
What do you have
All
to say
right.
to that?
I remember when I was in school, this was a long time ago. But I had this particular teacher, and she would ask a question and you would give her the right answer and she would still ask the question. And then when she said, oh yeah, that's the answer, but you pretended as though it was not the right answer. And then she would say, because I want you to make sure, I want to be sure that you are sure of the answer. So yeah. Gardening is good and stretches are good. They're all good, but the best one is walking.
Yeah.
Again, because all the organs are working at the same time. And when you walk, every time your feet hits the ground, then you have, is it calcium that's released? So an extra amount of calcium is released. So we want to be walking all the time. All right. So there are some diseased conditions that walking will help. Tell us some of those conditions that you can think of. What are some conditions that you can think of that walking can help to either prevent these conditions, or if you don't have it yet, you don't want to have it, so walking will also help those conditions. Some medical conditions that persons have now. Okay, heart problems. Very good.
High blood pressure.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other? Remember we spoke about one and we said that if you walk for 1 hour and you walk with a fruit, because the walking is so effective. Obesity is good too.
Arthritis,
yes. But the one we discussed,
digestion
is good for digestion. Very good. One more.
Diabetes.
Diabetes. That's the one. That was not meant. Oh, Christine mentioned it. Okay, so diabetes is the one. And that's that one. I mean, most diabetics, if they would only walk 1 hour, walk for 1 hour, walk with your fruit in your hand, just in case you're feeling any funny feeling at all, you stop and have that fruit. And before long, you realize that you're reducing your insulin. You don't need
and your
to.
blood sugar.
And your blood sugar is reduced as well. Okay. So, morning exercise. Some persons will say, I cannot exercise first thing in the morning because I have not eaten as yet.
Yeah.
But research has shown that when you exercise before you eat, you are burning predominantly fat. So if persons want to lose weight, that's the best time to exercise,
Yeah.
before they eat. So if you're walking later in the day, then you're burning a 50-50. You're burning a 50% fat and 50% sugar
Yeah.
when you walk later in the day. And if we are comparing walking to running, now some persons will say, I like to run, or I will perspire more if I
Yeah.
run. But research is showing that walking is more beneficial to running.
And more
And
beneficial long term too,
mhm.
because we need to think about our joints, right? Yeah, because
And
go
go ahead.
ahead.
Especially if you're trying to lose weight and we're heavy, we're heavier at the top. And that's a lot of weight that we're
Yeah.
putting on the knees and on the ankles.
Yeah.
That's real. And some of us are not even running properly, we're not
Yeah.
landing properly. So that's causing even more aches and pains for us. So yes, on the long term. But just to give you an idea, if someone wants to reduce their high blood pressure and they're running, 4.2%, that would be the result. So this was in 2013. The Life Science Division at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, they looked at 33,000 runners in comparison to 16,000 walkers, and they compared the health benefits. And for those who were running, their blood pressure would be reduced by 4.2%. But those who were walking, it went down by 7.2%.
Wow.
So it shows that it is better for you to walk than to run. And for persons with heart disease, it was 4.5%, while those walking was 9.3%.
Wow.
So that's more than double. So it's better for us to walk.
Yeah.
And you walk today, you can only walk for 5 minutes. That's fine. It's better than yesterday, because yesterday you weren't
walking
doing anything. And tomorrow you'll realize that you might be able to go 6 or 7 minutes. And by the end of the week, then you're probably walking 10-15 minutes. That's very good. Even if you have to use a walker initially, then over time you will be strengthened.
Yes.
All right. So gardening is very good. We encourage everyone to garden, have a garden, a vegetable garden, a herb garden, a flower garden. Some form of gardening should be done, because the stooping, the standing, the pulling,
of
the
the
pushing,
weeds.
everything will help. And that is a very good form of exercise as well.
So what are some principles of healthy exercise, right? So initially at the beginning, we talked about consistency, right? So if you're going to exercise, you want to be consistent, and you want to find some time in your routine every day where you can exercise. We mentioned we want it to be brisk, but not violent exercise. And you can, change it up. Sometimes you walk really fast, sometimes you walk slower, sometimes you're, stooping, bending, stretching. You can make it interesting so that you don't get tired of it. And yes, you want to enjoy it, because if you don't enjoy your exercise, you're not going to be motivated to keep doing it.
Right. And as you mentioned, regular. If you have a schedule, then it is so easy that you know that every morning at 6 o'clock, that's exercise time.
Yes.
And you realize that if the schedule changes, then it's hard for you to fit that in throughout the day again. So it's very important that we get our schedule. And I want to also mention that for us in North America, where it's cold, sometimes we just stay inside and find something on YouTube, some form of exercise. And if you have not been exercising, then walk away the pound. You could just put in the chat. Walk away the pound. The pounds. And that is one that it's one of my go-to for years. I've been doing that one for maybe over 20 years. I've been doing walk away the pounds, and she has added more videos, and they've changed it up a bit. But if you type that in on YouTube, you'll find videos. There are the 1 mile, which is like 15 minutes, or 2 miles, or 3 miles.
Yeah.
That's the like the 1 hour walking, 45 to 50-minute walk.
Yeah.
And it's just walking, and at least you have somebody walking with, and you don't have to feel bored and think that it's you alone.
Yeah.
But that's a very good one that you could try. All right. So is it too late for me to start exercising? I am 60, I'm 70, I'm 80. Is it too late for me to start exercising? Someone once said that our body is very forgiving. And it doesn't matter what we have done over the years. If we start right where we are right now, then you will see the benefit. So I just want to tell you a story. It is on the internet. The name of the lady is Hulda Crooks. And I am just summarizing her story. So if you want her full story, you can just research her name on Google. Her name is Hulda Crooks. And Hulda, she was one of 18 children. She grew up on a farm in Saskatchewan, and she ate just about everything you can think of. The eggs, the bacons, the potatoes, and before long, she was very, very overweight. Her brother made fun of her because of her weight. And at the age of 16, she weighed 160 pounds.
Wow.
Right? But she left the farm just before she turned 18, and she went to the US, and she enrolled at Pacific Union College. That's in San Francisco. And later she went to Loma Linda University, and there she got married. And she took up climbing in 1950 after the death of her husband. And at this time she was 54 years old, right? She successfully climbed Mount Whitney 23 times between the ages of 65 and, listen to this, 91. Now, Mount Whitney is 14,505 feet.
Wow.
So that's no little hill. That's a high mountain. And she did that 23 times. And Mount Whitney actually is just one of the many mountains that she climbed, because it said that she climbed 97 other peaks during this period. On July 24, 1987, at the age of 91, she became the oldest woman to complete the ascent to Mount Fuji in Japan. She hiked the entire 212-mile John Muir Trail in the high Sierras, completing the hike in segments over 5 years.
Wow.
During describing her life at age 80, she said, early to bed and early to rise, out jogging at 5:30 a.m., jog a mile and walk it back briskly. It takes me 12 minutes to jog the mile and 15 minutes to walk it. She would do some upper trunk exercises, and then she would work in the garden. She walks to the she walked to the market, and she walked to work as well. With a twinkle in her eyes and purpose in her step, Grandma Whitney, as she was called, Whitney for the mountain that she climbed, showed the world that mental, physical, and spiritual health is attained at any age.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can someone guess what age she died? Well, how old was she when she died? Just guess.
Okay, so you said she climbed the mountain up until 91.
Until 91.
Okay, so she must have lived a couple more years up there. Okay, someone says, let's see here.
102,
103,
103.
102.
Very good. She died at 101.
Wow.
101
Wow,
in
wow, wow.
1997.
Wow.
I am sure that even though she died at 101, as I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking of Moses.
Mm.
Moses died at 120 and he was not sick,
Yeah.
right? He just went, and that's how we should be dying naturally. We
Yeah.
shouldn't be sick and in bed and can't move. And that's so hard on the individual. We should have a healthy and happy life. So am I too old to start exercising?
No.
Absolutely not. Okay.
There is hope.
For
There
everybody.
is hope. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So we mentioned earlier about, dressing appropriately for, exercising outside. So why is it important for us to dress properly?
Well, last time we spoke about the limbs, covering them and ensuring that they are properly covered so that we have proper circulation.
Yes.
So that the blood is not congested in the upper section alone, because that's where we have covered.
Yeah.
So if you're going outside and you're going to be exercising, then you want to ensure that your arms are properly clad and your feet as well. So your legs are covered properly and you are in a good pair of shoes.
Yes.
If it's in the summer or if it's in the tropics, you want to wear a very good pair of running shoes that you're going to walk in. But if you're going to be walking in the winter months, then you also want to be wearing a good pair of shoes and socks as well, because you want the circulation to continue while you're exercising. All right.
Yeah, you want the entire body to be at the same temperature so that you can have equal circulation, and that promotes health.
Yes.
Right. So we don't want one part of the body to be hotter than the other or colder than the other. We want everything to flow freely.
And no tight, I don't know, spandex.
Yeah. So a lot of times, those tights, you put them on around your waist and
They're
it's so tight, or when you take it off, it leaves an imprint on the skin. How can your lungs expand? Or if you have on a tight sports bra or a tight tank top, it's hard for the lungs to expand when you're like restricting it.
I'll tell you a story. I was at I remember we had a program at church, and there was this lady, and she's more blessed than some persons, and she felt ill. She felt so sick. She went downstairs to the washroom, and I think I know someone had gone with her.
Yeah.
And she took off. I don't know
the corset. Oh my.
So ladies, I'm saying it's best that we exercise and lose the weight than try to restrict our bodies, because in her case, she could not breathe properly. Her lungs could not expand. She started feeling sick. She was fainting. She felt nauseous. Cold sweat was taking over, and all because of this tight thing that she was wearing. And I know that some of us, we don't wear it at home, but when we're going out, then we put it on. It's not good for us. And it's best that we exercise and lose the weight than wear these tight things that crushes our ribs, some of them, and will cause problems for our lungs. All right.
And sometimes, we just have to think about your body. think about your lungs, like gasping for air and, so restricted.
Yeah, and remember, we did the exercise of how we should breathe properly.
Yes, we did.
Yes, so if you're supposed to breathe properly and your
Your abdomen
is supposed to
yeah.
come out, how
Mhm.
is it gonna go out if you're wearing this tight
Mhm.
thing that's on
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
abdomen? So we need to be very cautious of that. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So some exercise precautions:
Yeah.
start slowly and
Mhm.
progress gradually,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's better to exercise before a meal than after a meal. After a
Mhm.
meal, we need to be digesting our food, and all the blood is required at that time. We don't want it going elsewhere. We need to have time for warming up and cooling
Yeah.
down,
Mhm.
when we're exercising. And
Mhm.
we ask that you discontinue your exercise and see your doctor if you should have any of these symptoms. What
Yeah.
are they?
So chest pain. If you're exercising and your chest is hurting, you need to stop. You
Mm-hmm.
know, any jaw pain, any pain in your arms, because those are signs of a heart attack,
Yes.
right? So if you're experiencing any of those while you're exercising, it's best to stop, right? If you're having difficulty breathing, right, you may have aggravated something. You want to stop exercising. If you're feeling lightheaded or faint, maybe you didn't drink enough water before you started exercising, right? So you don't want to be exercising if you're having those feelings. If you have an irregular heart rate, or if you notice, heart palpitations, your heart rhythm is a bit irregular,
Mm-hmm.
you want to stop your exercise. If your joints are, really hurting, right? So obviously, if you haven't been exercising and you start exercising, they're going to hurt a little, right? And so this is where you need to listen to your body, right? So if it hurts a little and it's bearable, I haven't exercised in maybe, let's
Yeah.
say, a couple months, then of course you'll expect a little discomfort. But if it's extremely painful, then you need to stop and you need to see your doctor. If you have a lot of fatigue, it might be that you're pushing yourself too much, or it might be that your body can't even do that type of exercise. So you really want to stop. If you have unexplained weight loss, it's best to figure out, what's causing that first before you decide to do any type of
Yes.
vigorous exercise. And if you experience any nausea or vomiting. So, obviously, with these symptoms that we've listed, it's really important to speak to your doctor
Mm-hmm.
first to find out why you're having these symptoms so that they can be resolved, and then you can, come back
Start.
and start
Yes.
your exercise again.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Michelle is asking, is it better to exercise in the morning or at night? Now,
Mm-hmm.
any if you cannot in the morning, exercise is best,
Yeah.
right? We discussed that a little earlier. But
Mm-hmm.
if at night is when you can get to exercise, you cannot exercise close to bedtime,
Yeah.
because that is going to keep you up, because we mentioned exercise is giving you fuel, it's
Mm-hmm.
energy. So
Yeah.
that's why you exercise in the morning, and then it's like a ticking clock. During the day it's going down and down and down, and at night, as someone had mentioned, one of the benefits is that it helps
Mm-hmm.
you to
Sleep.
sleep soundly.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you have anyone have any other questions, they can put it in the chat as well.
Mm-hmm.
So exercise will help to prevent many medical condition, or
Yeah.
even reverse some of them.
Mm-hmm.
And included in some of the things it will prevent, it will, lower your LDL cholesterol, it will increase your lung capacity, it will help to control your weight, your metabolism, it will
Mm-hmm.
help to treat diabetes,
Mm-hmm.
it improves your posture and decrease back pains. And a lot of people are afraid of the big C, oh, cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It helps to prevent cancer as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And there is this acronym that we want to leave with you as you think exercise. Think about this acronym. It's FIT. right? So
Mhm.
when you exercise, persons would say, oh, I'm fit. Or you're going to exercise because you want to be fit. So F stands for
Frequency. So that's how often you're exercising.
I stands for
That's intensity. So how hard you're exercising or how vigorous you're exercising.
okay, and
Mhm.
T. Who wants to guess? What's the T for?
So we have F for frequency, I for intensity, and
And
T
T
for
for no one? T for
time. Someone said time.
good job. Good job, Christine. Time. Oh, she said it's a direct message. Okay. Yes.
Christine
T
said
for
time.
time.
Yes.
Very good. So, and time, again, a set time or, preferably in the morning.
Yes.
But we want persons to exercise. So if you can't do it in the morning and you can do it mid-afternoon, go for it.
Yeah.
I exercise in the morning. Usually we're outside together exercising. But if I don't get to go outside and exercise, then my alarm is set for 11 o'clock when I'm going to exercise. And I choose 11 o'clock because, I've had breakfast a couple of hours and, it's not close to my dinner time either. So that's, it's important that we have a set time.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, we only have 3 minutes left. So we better start wrapping up.
Any questions before we wrap up?
While you're thinking of the questions, earlier we mentioned our website.
Oh.
And we want to share that with you. So I will put the link again in the chat and you can check out our website. If you have any questions, you can email us or message us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. We also have a YouTube channel with all of these videos there. So there are multiple ways to reach us. And it seems like there are no questions, which is good.
And the information that we put on Facebook and also on YouTube, it's on the website as well. So I know persons prefer to go to different places to view the information. So while we try to cover all the bases, we encourage you. You may have persons who would be interested in this information, and they can you can share the information with them as well, so that they can benefit from the information. And next week we want to talk about a very interesting topic, and
what's that?
And we're gonna have someone sharing with us as well.
Okay.
And surprise. Yes, so please be on next week. It is a topic that I know most of us we are familiar with it. Either we're experiencing it, or we're familiar with it, or we're familiar with someone who has experienced it. So we invite you back next week to share with us as we discuss another interesting topic.
Yeah.
So we've given you all the information we need to give you. And the last one is that we are reminding you, and who are we? DRD Natural Health, and it's Donisha and Rosetta, to start your journey towards better health today.
Yes.
All right.